Yo, what is going on,
No.
guys? What is happening? Welcome to Sixers Post Game Live. The Sixers get the W tonight,
with plenty of time.
28-26 against the Atlanta Hawks. Today, we are breaking down our top takeaways. We are breaking down our player of the game and team grades. Guys, if you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button. And please be sure to like this video if you love the Sixers, or if you hate the Sixers, give it a like anyway. Joining me, the man, the myth, the legend. He is Austin NBA Krell on Twitter. Dude, it's an honor. What's going on, Austin?
Always a pleasure being back with the squad.
Man of short words. And he still has the Jaws poster in the background, and it just
iconic forever.
Speaks to my heart. Speaks to my heart. Spielberg forever. And it is 100% also an honor to have for the first time. He is Jacob Moreno. He is the owner of Sixers Country on Instagram. The dude has been pumping out Sixers articles here at the Painted Lines. Jacob, what's going on, bro?
I'm doing just fine considering we got that win. And I'm ready to dive right into it.
Let's go. Let's go. I mean, how do you not start out with here the Sixers in the second half? The Sixers outscored the Hawks 20-9 in the fourth quarter after shooting. They hold after shooting 3 of 10 in the first half. Embiid went 7 of 13 here in the second half. Embiid finished with 16 points in the second half. Seth with 5 huge points and 2 assists in the fourth quarter. The Sixers held the Hawks to 3 of 20 in the fourth quarter. Austin, what's some of your major takeaways here in this W?
I was really impressed with the Sixers' defensive rotations in the fourth quarter. I thought they did a really good job of just staying aware and active off the ball. A lot of times you'll see guys like pop through the lane or pop through like the open pockets on the floor and just like be the connective tissue within an offense. So like there are opportunities where guys such as Gallinari or Herter can flash through the nail to the free throw line, and they shift the defense up, and then that lifts things out of the way for, Capella or for Collins to come in, and you have an alley-oop. It took a lot of those looks away by fronting their defensive assignments and keeping on top of them and guarding them in the front instead of in the back. And I think that was really, huge for them to sort of get that momentum. I thought Maxey stayed down on Trae Young, didn't jump at the fakes, made him settle for tough shots. And I mean, the Hawks got what they wanted. I mean, their best player was taking critical shots down the stretch to close the game, and he made a couple once he came back in the first couple minutes, and then the last 2 minutes of the game he missed tough shots. So they made it difficult, and they won the defensive battle that time.
Right, and then we're gonna go to my man Jacob. What's some of your general takeaways, impressions from tonight's win?
Well, first things first, I agree with Austin. The defense in the fourth quarter was absolutely amazing, especially on Trae Young and just rotations overall. They did a great job of making the Hawks take bad shots, and I think just on the Hawks part, that was terrible execution in the last few minutes. Trae Young took some really selfish shots at the end. And Embiid, I was really glad to see him bounce back. He had 28 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 blocks. And yeah, like he played much to his own style. He adjusted to his own pace well, and it was just kind of different from like the Celtics game. He was playing his game, looking for fouls, being aggressive, and I think that was one of the most important things.
I think some of the biggest conversations about the Sixers team right now is the offense, the lack of offense. They've really struggled here as of late, especially Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey. Before tonight, shooting just 29.9% over the last 5 games. You look at tonight, he shot 4 of 10 from the floor, just 11 points. To his credit, he had 0 turnovers. That's always a plus. But Austin, like, how does the Sixers offense get going, especially getting Tyrese Maxey back to where he was when he was dominating the fourth quarters and averaging nearly 20 points a game in November?
He certainly hasn't done me any favors with that article that I put 3 days ago. Ever since then, it's been kind of a nightmare for him. I think part of it is defenses are adjusting to him. A lot of his flash was like things that Sixers fans had not seen in a while because they haven't had a traditional guard that can put pressure on a rim like that and can also diversify with a jump shot. And defenses know how to attack that. They know how to help at the last second to stunt the attack or to block the shot off the backboard. I thought when it came down to it, he made he was a little bit too crafty at times in the game. I think he got a little bit uncomfortable, but made some big shots down the stretch in the third quarter. He's improving as a playmaker ever so slowly. He is doing it. And one thing I don't like is last two games. I don't know if it's Doc or if it's him or whatever. When the offense has been allowed to sort of just run instead of taking a timeout in the last possession of the game, saw it in Minnesota game, saw it tonight. They don't get a good look out of it tonight. The Danny Green has the ball at half court with 5 seconds left on the shot clock with nowhere really to go with it. Minnesota game, they turn it over and the Timberwolves score the game winning shot with like 2 seconds left. So they're not getting the most they can with Maxey at the as the ball handler in those impromptu closeout possessions. But I think he's learning on the fly. He's got to. I think it's smart to give him those minutes where Embiid's off the floor to let him just carve up second units and really get comfortable within the game. Because he's also just he's their best shot creator, quite frankly. I think he's learning with time. It'll come more.
Yep. Jacob, what's your quick thoughts on Tyrese Maxey over these last handful of games, man?
Tonight, despite his inefficiency, he was much better. He got, like Austin said, he had those few clutch buckets in the third, especially the one where he blew past Kevin Huerter, the easy layup. And with the last few, he was kind of struggling to readjust to that Embiid-centered offensive pace. I feel like he was like overthinking decisions, trying to get the ball to Embiid without like really like reading the floor. But I think he's like adjusting well. He was much better with Embiid tonight for sure.
All right, let's just roll into player of the game, man. Jacob, who is your player of the game?
I think without a doubt, Joel Embiid. His impact on both ends was like very important for the Sixers team. Scored 10 in the third quarter and really kind of started that run for the Sixers.
I would love it. Let's look at Joel Embiid's stats here over the last handful of games. Wow, look at that. Austin, what's your quick thoughts on Joel Embiid?
So with Joel, all the talk's been made about how they don't have a go-to guy in crunch time. Joel isn't that guy. He can't be a center. He was terrible throughout most of the game. He was terrible throughout most of the game against Boston. He made a shot. He made a big jumper in the last minute of the Boston game. Made a jumper tonight to give the Sixers a 2-point lead. So I think when the going gets tough and adversity hits, he responded tonight, and they won the game because of him for sure.
We have talked about this so many times on this show, Thiago, me, about Embiid rolling to the basket. You saw it there. There was one possession, especially between Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, regarding rolling to the basket. That's a obvious way to expand this offense, not just cutting to the basket, but getting Joel Embiid to roll to the basket. He's much more comfortable at just pick and pop in that like 10-foot area. But you saw it against the Timberwolves. It's there. Austin, is this like, can we get a little bit more of Embiid just going to the basket just a little bit?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you saw that that they have a quick hitter play and they like to do it. They'll get him inside post positioning, and then they'll get the ball to the strong side of the court, and that'll enable him to dive a little bit and just a feed over the top for him to dunk it. They had that look to win the game against Boston the other night. Tobias lost his mind. So I think they have different actions they use. They have a cross screen action along the baseline that allows him to get a foot in the block, and then from there he can work. I definitely think that they could. There's more creative ways they could do it. And it's something that they need to do more of. At the same time, Joel has to be more assertive on the block. And in the first quarter, I thought he did a wonderful job of, not only just walking his man down to the block and in the post, but also saying, I'm going to stretch my legs out and really establish solid balanced position here and just really open up my gate here. And I'm going to stick my arm out and demand the ball and make it possible for my man to come and strip me of it. The only way they're going to get it is if they throw a helper over last second. He asserted himself in the early moments of the game. The problem is that wears off once he gets a little tired, and you could see his arms were on his knees. He was really tired as the game went on. I don't think he was lying about COVID. I don't care what that fur wearing mongoose says over at WIP. He's I don't think he faked COVID. I think he is vaccinated. That's a different story though. And I think those little things are signs where he starts settling for jumpers more. He doesn't establish himself in the paint as much. Those are signs of fatigue. And I think as he gets his legs back under him, he gets his lungs back from COVID, you'll start to see him get back to his old ways more. But he's never been one to be – he's never had consistently great footwork in the paint. That's why there are times when he'll go down on two knees and is throwing the ball away because his footwork in the paint is not great. And, there are times when – the double comes or the pressure comes and he's taken out of his game because he's settling for jumpers because he's uncomfortable in the paint. So there's some development there. There's some energy stuff there. But we know he has it in his bag. It's just a matter of using it as consistently. It also doesn't help that whenever he tries to move his elbows at all, he gets called for an offensive foul. So,
and he never gets the ball when he needs it. The lack of point guard is evident on this team. My man Jacob went Joel Embiid player of the game. Who is your player of the game, Austin?
Joel.
Come on, give me something else.
If you want something else, I think Seth Curry made big shots down the stretch
Big time.
The game. He started out 5 for 5, then missed his next 6. Made a big 3 down the stretch off a curl. Made a floater late in the game. People love to criticize Doc's coaching. I will say this. I don't know why they don't run more pin downs for Seth off of curls. They were down 5, like 2 minutes left, and he hit a 3 off the pin down to put it within 2. So those are easy plays where you could get Seth going off the ball and just get him open looks, and he can cash in on those. I don't know why they don't do that more. They insist on playing a 2-man game with him as the ball handler when he's really not a great ball handler. That could be a source of offense in itself. Just having him move off ball, burst around screens, and hit, catch and shoot. Yeah,
this was like the anti Sixers game this year, where the Joel Embiid actually comes through here in the second half, and they actually defensively hold the opposing team here in the fourth quarter. Something we don't really see that often this season. Jacob, how would you grade this Sixers performance?
I would give them, I'll say a solid B.
Solid B. What about you, Austin?
The Sixers overall?
Yeah.
We'll go C+.
C+. All
yeah.
Right.
Here's the reality. Like, they don't play smart a lot of the time. Some of that is coaching. Some of that is the players. Like, if I ever see Shake Milton or anybody go under a screen on Trae Young ever again, I'm gonna fucking throw my computer at a wall. That's bad attention to detail. They don't play smart offense a lot. The ball, when Danny Green catches the ball in the corner and he's throwing jab steps, trying to create space, no one's moving. How about someone flash to the post and relieve that pressure and maybe reset the play a little bit? They let the offense stagnate so much sometimes when all they have to do is move. And you can hear Doc yelling at games, move, cut, somebody got to move, and they just don't do it. They forget to move. So, they don't play a smart brand of basketball. The perimeter defense sucks. And they're winning. They're winning, the interior game. Thank God for Joel's presence on the interior, because he's a lot of change was left at the rim by Capella and Atlanta's other bigs tonight. But they etched out a win. This was not a game they should have won. It was not a game they should have won. The Hawks should not have won it either. It should have been a tie. And everyone can be miserable with that. But here they are. They win the game.
This is what makes me so frustrated about the Sixers, bro, is that the Sixers, especially cutting to the basket this year, like I understand last year they sucked at it. They were terrible at cutting to the basket, and they were literally last in the league in cutting to the basket, points per possession, among the worst. This year, they're among the best. They are amazing at cutting to the basket, yet still in terms of frequency, still the last team in the NBA. That's just such an area that they need to just continue to develop, especially with Matisse. I just don't understand why Doc's reluctance to really get this ball moving. So it's kind of like
it isn't his reluctance though; it's that he's preaching it.
Why isn't anybody doing it?
I don't know.
Because that's what I hear you saying, but like data-wise, it's still the fucking same.
You could argue that it's coach buy-in, but here's the thing: you can't just fire another coach. Like the fans are fire Doc, gotta fire Doc. He does this, doesn't do that. Joel missed 18 shots tonight. Gotta fire Doc for that too. You can't just fire a coach every time there's a problem. You can't do it. He has 3 years. I forget. I think he has 2-3 years left on his deal. They're not going to eat the money. He's going to be here for a while longer. And that's the reality of the situation. And by the way, Doc was the coach last year, and they were a top 10, whatever, the top half of the league offense and the top 5 defense.
Top 10, top 5.
Yeah, and they probably win the second round series against the Hawks if Ben doesn't lose his mind. You could also point to
Danny Green doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, or you can point to 1,000 factors. But the bottom line is that Doc is not your biggest problem on the team.
Yeah. That's for another podcast. All right, Jacob, where can we find you, bro? Thank you so much for joining his very first show ever for the.
Thank you for letting me be on.
Thanks, man. Where can we find you? What do you got going on, man?
For these?
Yeah, anything. Instagram, you name it. Your time's yours.
Well, I think I'll try to go on here as much as I can. With school, it's tough sometimes, but weekend games, I'll definitely do my best to be on here. Just trying to get more experience, just get better at it.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining, Jacob. He is Sixers Country on Instagram. He's humble, but he's not going to plug it. I will fuck Will. Austin, time is yours, man. Where can we find you, man?
Find me on Twitter. My handle is on the screen at NBA Krill. There is a campaign started by my colleagues for me to get hired by The Athletic, so we'll see how that goes. Who knows? But I cover the Sixers day to day. I write for every game. I would have had my recap out by now, but I had other bookings and obligations that I had to tend to with this fine YouTube channel. So there we go.
All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Smash that subscribe button, guys, if you love the Sixers.
That is not what I said. I don't know how many times I got to say this. I think in a vacuum, the better standstill shooter is probably going to be Seth Curry. It probably is. I don't even think it's that crazy of a take. The best, in a vacuum, the better catch and shoot shooter is going to be Seth Curry. It absolutely is the case. If they have a 3-point contest, Seth Curry wins the contest. I'm positive of it.
I love it. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Again, thank you, everyone here who have been commenting. We'll be back again for the next Sixers post-game show for Jacob's first time. Woo! My man, Austin, he's all right, too. Thanks for watching, guys.